In this video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know to get started creating layered clothing in Roblox, and at the end, we'll walk through a flow of how to create it yourself. Clothing, formerly called layered clothing, are 3D cosmetic items that you can equip and wear like pants, t-shirts, jackets, and dresses. Unlike rigid accessories that attach to a single point on a character body, layered clothing stretches and fits over any body type in currently equipped clothing. Despite these differences, layered clothing is still considered an accessory in Roblox Studio, so there's some overlap on the requirements between the two. Both rigid accessories and layered clothing are made up of the same three things that we'll call components: a mesh object, one or more textures, and an attachment. But in order to make layered clothing, you'll also need two additional components: a rigging armature and inner and outer cages. These additional two components are what lets your layered clothing items be worn in conjunction with each other, so that you can mix and match and layer multiple items together. Let's talk about each component in turn. A mesh object is the geometry that makes up the layered clothing item itself. This is the thing you're making, so in this example, a shirt. Textures are 2D image files that map to or define the surface appearance of your layered clothing item. Attachments, called attachment points, define which body part a layered clothing item is connected to. This is used to associate it with the correct body part when the body ragdolls or is dismembered. A rigging armature is used to define how a layered clothing item can move with a character model. Using rigging and skinning techniques in third-party applications, you can set areas of your clothes to move naturally with the character model's joints, like making sure a shirt sleeve correctly follows the movement of an elbow and shoulder. Inner and outer cages refer to the inner and outer surfaces of a layered clothing item. The inside cage of a t-shirt defines how the t-shirt stretches and fits over a character body, while the outside cage of a t-shirt defines how additional layered clothing items fit on top of it. Now that you know what components you need in order to make layered clothing, let's walk through a generalized flow of how to create layered clothing items from scratch. For a more detailed look at these instructions, be sure to check out the resources in the description. First, start by modeling your object. This is done in third-party tools like Blender and Maya. This is where you create the mesh object component of your layered clothing item, the geometry. After you're done modeling, you move on to texturing. If you're making your textures from scratch, this is often done in third-party tools like Substance Painter. In this example, the texture is painted in Blender. After you made your texture, it's time to rig your armature. Since Roblox expects a specific armature structure, use Roblox's armature templates as a base to help you rig your armature faster. With your armature rigged, move on to making your inner and outer cages using Roblox's provided cage files. This is often done with sculpting tools and wireframe enabled to more easily visualize the cages. Once you have your layered clothing item the way you like in your third-party tool, it's time to export it and then import it into Studio. First, follow the export instructions for clothing objects. This can be slightly different depending on your modeling software. Then use Studio's 3D importer to import the model file into Studio. Your 3D file imports as a model object containing your mesh part. Use the accessory fitting tool to make fitting adjustments and preview your layered clothing item on a character mannequin. Once you finalize the fit, the accessory fitting tool adds the attachment point to the asset and creates your layered clothing accessory object. Thanks for watching. We hope you found that helpful. For more information about any of these steps and to learn about them in more detail, be sure to check out the resources in the description.